Yeah, you can. Go ahead, Bob. Bob?
I don't think I'm here. So.
How about Tom?
Sure, I'll start it. Sam, their defensive front's got some first-round picks on it, I believe. What's your take on their overall defense, and particularly how that front sets things up?
I really love their defense. I think going into this year, I think part of the reason that A&M was ranked so high, obviously coming off of such a great year they had last year, but a lot of it has to do with that defense, and particularly the defensive front. They're big. They're very athletic. A lot of times defensive fronts can be dominant against the run and, maybe so big that they can't pass rush and things of that nature. That's not the case here. I was hoping that I'd watch the tape and go, well, they can't do one or the other, but that's not the case. They can rush the passer. They're physical, run line games, line twists that were difficult to pick up. They were difficult for me when I was at Georgia as the offensive line coach. We played A&M. But this is an SEC football team that is physical, put together, and it starts on both sides of the ball. And they're just young on offensive line, but they're very talented over there as well. But they're really, really good on the front.
Okay. I think you said a couple of weeks ago, late in the Texas week preparations, that you'd been doing a little bit more media stuff than you had been. And I'm wondering, how are you taking the increased responsibility of several times a week doing media stuff, and then the attention that you guys are generating, maybe even more of that? So how's that all setting up for you?
Well, when I interviewed with Hunter, he talked about the state and the people. How would I be able to interact with the state and the people? I remember that was one of the specific questions he asked me in the interview. And I thought, I said, hey, what are you going to say? No, you can't do it. So I said, yeah, I'm ready to go and can't wait to meet the folks. And he was talking about, state media like yourselves. He didn't mention the national media. Kyle does a great job with me, usually getting my meetings completed for the most part somewhere between, Sunday to Wednesday. So I, can kind of relax a little bit. I found myself, I was tired last night, and I think it was because of, obviously we're playing Texas A&M, but it's the fourth week of the season. And we did quite a few interviews this week and things of that nature. Let me say this, we never do more interviews than we can handle to handle the team. And Kyle's so good about that, that everything that we do fits into a time frame where I'm okay because I've already done everything I need to with the team. So I appreciate the question, because I appreciate you understanding, because it has been different and I like it that way, but we do have to say no to a few people, and that's not always easy for me.
Great.
Hey, Coach. Curious about your schedule coming up. I know you got practice today, Thursday, but Friday, when you guys leaving out, and are you taking the team to AT&T Stadium, let them do a little walkthrough there, or what's the plan?
Great question, Trey. I don't want to treat this game any different than any other now. When asking the question about, first of all, to answer your question, we never go to the opponent's stadium. Before that, old school ways, you did, but we never go to the opponent's stadium. So what we do is we do our Monday through Friday is always the same, whether it's home or away, for meetings, the walk through here, what we call our subscript here. And then sometimes they're a little earlier, because obviously on the road you'd have to leave a little earlier so you can get there by dinner time, which is around 5:30. So I think our staff meeting starts at 9. I know that. And I don't know exactly, I don't have it in front of me, but I don't know exactly when our time is, maybe 11, something like that, where we meet with the kids, where it's usually 2:30. 11 sounds about right. And then we'll walk through here. We won't go to Mr. Jones Stadium until till the game day. You know, a lot of our kids have not played in there, and a lot of our kids obviously have. The main concern there is not necessarily the wow of the stadium. It's more catching punts and passes and things like that. And we felt like we'd have ample time to get that done in pregame.
I don't want to get you looking ahead or anything, but just the way the schedule sets up with this being a split crowd basically on the road, because you guys haven't been since you've been head coach in a, you know, just a huge away environment. Do you think that might be advantageous for kind of, I don't know, easing into the couple of road games you got coming up here?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I know A&M fans are going to be loud, and I know ours will too. So you're looking at half, hopefully over half for Arkansas, but you're looking at a loud stadium. I've been in there before, and half of it's loud. It's like the Cotton Bowl when it's OU Texas. It's loud, no matter how you shake it. So yes, I think we've done a really good job this week with noise. I've been really pleased with that. I asked the coaches last week, Trey, if we needed to get just a little bit of noise at practice. Did we think a week was going to get us ready? Did we think a week of practice we would be ready? And where we benefited from that was when we played Texas. Barry wanted noise for the defense, because he knew our fans would be extremely loud, which they were, and he wanted it for defensive communication. Well, you can't get defense only. The offense has to go into, their clap system and things of that nature. And so we've had probably, of course, all this week, and then probably 4 to 6 practices where we've had noise. So I feel comfortable about that. But yes, I think it'll be, half the stadium, and then, in the future, you're going to go to 2 hostile places, which is why you come to the SEC.
Thanks.
Excuse me.
Nate,
Sam, just kind of what are some of the similarities and contrasts to them trying to establish a backup quarterback as a starter, and y'all maybe having to reshuffle your offensive line?
Well, let's say this, depth is such a key part to any team. You can't be devastated if you lose X, whoever that may be. However, guys are one for a reason. I mean, there's a depth chart for a reason, because supposedly he's supposed to be your best player. Sometimes you find out from a guy that's been practicing all the time, you find out on game day, he's a lot better than you thought. Sometimes he's not as good as you thought, So I'm so glad last week we had an opportunity to see what we have available if Dalton and Ricky can't play. So that helped us. I think the Colorado game for A&M, when Calzada came in, he ended up winning the game, there at the end on the last drive, helping them drive down there. And then, of course, the defense stopped him with a couple of minutes left in the game. Now he goes, plays New Mexico, whom, by the way, if you haven't seen New Mexico play, man, they swarm. They've got a good football team. They run around, and I thought A&M beat a good football team last week. But now he's throwing better. He's got better confidence. So I'd say it correlates. They probably are ahead of us a week because he played a full game and a half and 3 quarters basically, and our guys in that particular rotation of what we have only played about 2/3 of the game.
Thank you.
Bob,
Hey, Sam, how you doing? You guys have got, of course, Arkansas has always had a lot of good players from Texas going back to Frank Burrell's days, but you guys, you look at your tackle leaders, your rushing leaders, your special teams guys, your depth on the D-line. How important are those Texas kids to your team and how well they're playing?
Yeah, very. You know, I mean, I've been on the phone with a lot of Texas kids in the 23 class recently, and the win over Texas has really helped us, you know. So it's a big state. University of Texas can't take them all. A&M can't take them all. I mean, there's a lot of kids down there, and certainly we're going to try to go in there and get the best and that they have as well. Us and a lot of people, everybody in our league, a lot of people. But you know, it's a highly populated state, a lot of good players, and they're important for us. And to be honest with you, the Hog's strong in Texas right now.
And I totally get you'd rather play this game in Fayetteville given a choice, but how excited do you think your Texas kids are to go down there and play, especially when the Texas Bowl got canceled last year?
I think they're really excited to go back home, you know, and try to play well in front of their home state. And I want to clear this up a little bit with the game. You know, I'm not disappointed that the game by any stretch of imagination. It's our contract, and you know, I'm not disappointed that we're going to Dallas. I'm just disappointed that we went to A&M last year and now we go to Dallas. You know, and I understand the reasoning behind all that, but you know, I wish they would. You know, I wish it would a situation where you could. And I'm not calling A&M out because they are under contract too. So it just was unfortunate that it was their year to have a home game, because bottom line, if we had a home game last year, they would have come up here and played us too because of the situation with COVID. So certainly we're excited to go down there. We use it in recruiting. We use it in Texas in recruiting. So I think the kids are going to be excited to go down there.
Okay, I got one more if I could. Dominic Johnson told us yesterday he actually played in that stadium Pee Wee ball when he was like 7 or 8 years old. I didn't even know they played Pee Wee games there. I guess Jerry makes money every which way. But
I know if in Pee Wee's, he probably wasn't a running back. He's probably an old lineman because of the weight limit or whatever. You know, he couldn't be a skilled player or whatever he was. But I don't know. I didn't get a chance to catch that game, so I don't know what it looks like.
Do you think it's pretty cool a kid gets to play in there when he's 7 or 8, though?
Yeah, I think it would. I wouldn't think it'd be a packed crowd or anything, but man, it's cool to be down there, wouldn't it?
Yeah, okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Scotty.
Coach, you sounded pretty proud the other day of what Luke Jones did at left guard when he came in. I wonder if you could expound on him and just what he brings to the line when he's on the field.
Well, he's experienced. You know, Luke's played a lot of ball for us, and you know, he had a grade of 80% last week, which I thought was really good for a guy that, you know, hasn't played a whole lot this year. He played 25 snaps for us, and we have a lot of confidence in him, and he's had a good week of practice. You know, he's from our state too, that, you know, is pretty cool. And but he's a smart kid. Luke can play. He's a little bit like Clary, you know, he could play left tackle, he can play center. He's one of those centers that we have as well. So he's very, very valuable to us, you know, just like I talked to Ty Clary, you know, he didn't start Saturday, but the value he has on the team is incredible. Same way with Jones.
And I know you got a handful of talented guys in your backfield, but I'm curious if Rocket maybe reminds you of another player you've been around in the past, just in the way he, you know, either runs or carries himself.
You know, I don't know. Jonathan Williams maybe comes up a little bit in my mind when I was here the first time. Rocket reminds me a little bit of him. You know, J-Dub was a big back that could make you miss, could run over you. I wasn't fortunate enough to be here, I don't think, when J-Dub was a freshman. I'm not positive. I don't think I was. But, you know, Jonathan just got better each and every week. And, of course, he had a nice professional career. That'd be the one that, off the top of my mind, would remind me of.
Let me know if you have more questions. Hutch.
Yeah, Coach, I saw on your coach's show that you announced that Warren Thompson had been put on scholarship. Was that a pretty easy decision for you to make? And have you made any other scholarship decisions with any other guys?
Well, to answer the last part of it, no, I haven't made any others. And Warren, I put Warren Thompson on scholarship before school started, or right when school started. No, before school started. You know, I'm not a flashy guy in that, you know, where I, you know, make a video or all that. And the purpose behind that is because you know, guys are disappointed if they're not that guy, and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But you know, if you earn a scholarship, at least in my opinion, you know, then I need to give you one, and I don't need to make it flashy because I'm so afraid of how to make the guys that don't get one. So I set him over in the indoor, called him over after practice, and I told him I would not give him a scholarship until he blocked somebody. And then he, you know, he had a good week of blocking. And then I called him over and said, well, you know, I told you what I'd do if you did start blocking, and he did. And I gave him a scholarship, and he earned the scholarship, and I was able to give it to him. So that was quite a long time ago, whenever he went on scholarship.
And I know you can't talk specifics with the recruiting, but do you know if you and your assistants are gonna be able to get out and watch some high school games Friday?
Yeah.
And what's the interest in having recruits there at AT&T Stadium?
Yeah, we're going to have recruits there, and obviously we can't talk to them, but we're going to have recruits there, and we're going to have five of our coaches out on the road starting tomorrow night. They'll leave after practice tomorrow night, and the coordinators will handle the walkthrough on Friday, which is easy. And then we'll be out to games, watching different kids play Friday night. The coordinators will handle those meetings as well. And so we got to get out. You know, it's our first opportunity to get out. I mean, we could get out around here, but it's our first opportunity. We're using it. I wasn't comfortable with going out. It was too early, letting our coaches go out during the Texas game or the Georgia Southern game. But we've got the routine down now. The kids understand, and so I'm comfortable with letting the guys go out. We need to. I mean, recruiting's your lifeblood, you know, so we need to. Winning is too, by the way.
Last one, Bob.
Sam, their punter, Nick Castanu, or I don't know, try to say his last name, but Aussie kid, I guess he pinned,
Yeah.
you know, last week he pinned New Mexico inside their 15 4 times.
Yeah.
And they were all 40-some yard punts. So he's obviously got distance and accuracy. How big?
He's valuable for them, Bob. The other thing too is the guys boom 62, 63 yard punts too. I mean, got a valuable weapon there. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Is that what the question?
Yeah. I was just asking you what.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you saw how important the kid from Georgia Southern was for them. You know, he did a nice job of punting against us as well. And of course, you know, Bauer hit a 62 yarder with no return last week. I mean, that's a lot of yards. You know, if you go 62 versus 42, they got to make 2 first downs to catch up to just a punt. And that's where A&M, they're very strong there at the punt, at their punter, and very accurate as well.
Thanks, Coach.
Go Hawks. Thank you, guys.